Welcome back to the podcast this week, my friends. This time, we're going to be talking about something that I am doing for myself, and I would like you to come on this journey with me. I am 3 days into this, so 72 hours. 72 hours is the first part of what I'm suggesting that we do, so remember that in just a few minutes. I want to talk to you about something that is free and will help you to feel more happiness in your life and help reset your dopamine receptors. What does that mean, Aaron? Well, your dopamine receptors are things in your brain that go, oh, that's really fun and nice to do. Oh, that feels really good. We get dopamine hits from all sorts of things, from an interaction with a friend that feels good, from exercising. These are some good dopamine hits that we get. That feel good, that release oxytocin in us and that allow us to feel good, have the good feels, all right? That help with elevation of mood. There are other things that are dopamine boosters as well that may, much like the Force in Star Wars, have a dark side. So dopamine gets released when you do things like drink alcohol, take various sorts of drugs, coffee even. Things that we don't think about as being, quote unquote drugs, but are stimulants, things like that. A big one, and this is the one that I want to talk about today, is social media. So why do we love consuming social media? Why do we love the scroll, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or Reddit or even the New York Times? A lot of us don't consider the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or something like that to be something we're going to dopamine hit from. But if you're constantly doing it, refreshing that feed, scrolling to see if there's any new articles, any updates, things like that, it can be the same thing. And it can start to distract you, not only for productivity for your work. There's been lots of people that talk about this, right? That like, hey, if you reduced your social media, how much you had it on your phone or that you were constantly checking it, that you would be more productive. And I think that absolutely there's a great argument for that. Lots of people have talked about that and why that's good for you. And that's great. You will definitely get a boost in productivity more than likely because you're not constantly context switching. For every time that you get interrupted when you're trying to think or complete a task, every time that you check your phone or get distracted or someone asks you a question, it takes you a moment to get back into the groove where you were at, right? Most of us have experienced this. So you definitely will have some positive benefits. I don't see how you couldn't in doing less of that specific kind of dopamine, which is social media, the constant checking of the feeds. But that's not even what I'm talking about today. I don't even care. If you get some of that, great. I only care about your mental health, my mental health, and about you having more net happiness. So here's what I'm going to do. For the next 30 days, I am going on my regular scroll, what for me is LinkedIn, Instagram, Reddit, and the New York Times. Those are my four constantly. If I am in between meetings, if I am sitting down for a moment, if I am doing something with the kids and there's a lull in conversation and I pick up my phone, we've all done it. And I'm checking those things mindlessly. Because I get that quick dopamine hit, right? It feels good. Like, what's happening now? What new article is there now? What cat video has just been posted? All of these different things that we have curated and the algorithms have curated for us so that we just want to keep scrolling. And it's crazy how much time a lot of us that are listening to this podcast probably right now, a lot of you have probably done a little bit of examination of maybe even set a timer to keep track of how long built up over a day you spend doing this. And this isn't to make you feel bad. I mean, obviously I'm doing it because I want to readjust as well. So this is just something that I'm trying to be very neutral about. I just want to do this experiment. I'm already seeing positive benefits though, and it's already only been 72 hours. So this is why I want to offer this to you as well to come on this journey with me. And I have a very simple structure that we can do this together. And I want you to do this for the 30 days with me. And I promise you that if you do this, at the end of that 30 days, you're probably not going to want to install these apps again because you don't need to. You'll have more connection with friends, with family. You'll have more white space in your brain for creative thinking. You won't get caught up in context switching all the time. So these are the reasons why I want to do this. This is the science, so you can feel better about this, not just that Aaron thinks it's a good idea anecdotally. So backed by science, it will improve your mental health. It has been shown that it reduces depression and anxiety, two things that I have suffered from in my life with long bouts in my early 20s, and anxiety and racing thoughts and things like that are still something that I have to keep track of today. And I know I'm not the only one. Lots of high performers, lots of A-type personalities, we get this a lot. So, in fact, there was research conducted by the Royal Society for Public Health, the RSPH, and they found that social media platforms such as the ones I mentioned, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, all of those, they do have a detrimental effect on mental health. And that regular usage of these platforms correlated with increased rates of anxiety, depression, loneliness, poor self-esteem, because just like me, you're comparing yourself with the people that you see in your feed, what they're doing, how cool they are, if they're going on better trips than you, all kinds of things that you don't even need to know because you can't control it and it can't affect your life other than the fact that you think about it. And also body image dissatisfaction. So reduce depression and anxiety just by getting rid of the constant scroll, especially Instagram, Facebook, okay? And to an extent, LinkedIn as well, because people only post things when they're doing a brag about something or something's positive that's happened to them. And you're constantly comparing yourself to their greatest hits, which is just not, it's good for you to expose yourself to that constantly day after day after day. The thing is, we know this, right? We know this logically. You're all super smart people. I'd like to include myself in that category as well. But we do it anyway. We don't realize we're doing it, but our brain is like comparing and contrasting every single time that we open that feed. Now, the other thing is that increased happiness and life satisfaction happens when you reduce these things and you spend less time on them on a daily basis. So a study published in the Journal of Social and Clinical Psychology showed that limiting social media usage to 20 to 30 minutes a day significantly reduces feelings of loneliness and depression. They reported higher levels of overall life satisfaction and happiness after only 30 days. Isn't that crazy? You don't have to hire an expensive coach for this one. You don't have to go on a retreat. You don't have to get a prescription from your doctor for a med. You just need to reduce something that's going to make you happier that you've been doing. And it's going to reset your dopamine receptors. So what this is going to do is, because you're not constantly going for that quick dopamine hit over and over and over and over again, your brain's going to be able to start to regulate itself. And so that small interactions with your family, with your friends, with the outside world, conversations, more satisfaction in the daily work that you're doing. Maybe spend that time that you would have been doing that reading. One of those paper books. Remember those? I love my Kindle as well, but I'm just saying there's something about the paper, right? It also helps you with stronger interpersonal relationships. So I already talked a little bit about how maybe this will improve. You could use that time to refocus on connecting with people, maybe that you keep saying you don't have enough time to spend with the kids, to spend with your significant other, with friends, with family, with other people maybe you've lost touch with. But by doing this, it will increase face-to-face social interactions and the time for it. Spending excessive time on social media, it can lead to a decline in real-life social interactions. Of course it does, because we're looking at our phones instead of talking to the people around us. In fact, there was another study done by the University of Pittsburgh from their Center of Research of Media and Technology and Health, and they found that adults that spend more time on social media were more likely to feel socially isolated. Again, you know this, right? You know it. We all know it logically, but we're not taking steps. It's so easy to install that app on your phone and you just keep finding yourself spending more and more and more time on it, and you feel guilty about it, but you don't feel like there's a clear way to stop doing it because everyone around you is doing it too. So it seems normal. It's super normalized, but it's not. It's not normal for us to be spending this much time on our phones and not looking at other people and talking and focusing on the things that actually make us happy. It also will improve your relationship satisfaction. So you're going to be able to spend and have those authentic time interactions with the people that you care about the most, which will increase your happiness, which is a feedback loop of dopamine, but it's a different kind. Remember I said there's kind of the light and dark side of dopamine. There's the stuff that you can get dopamine hits for that over time actually disconnect you from people and your life. And they're the kinds of dopamine hits that are more subtle. The connection with a friend, a conversation, going for a walk, staring at the window at a tree that's gently swaying in the wind. Allowing your thoughts then to drift and to think about different things, possibilities for you, your life, your business. These are amazing ways for your brain to take an adventure and to get dopamine, but they're more subtle. They're not the crack cocaine of social media. And you need to reset your brain in order to start to enjoy them again. Now, I really only think, because I've seen the statistics and I have experienced this myself, like I said, I'm 72 hours in, that it really doesn't take that long for your brain to start to reset and remember. But those first 72 hours, you will notice some things. You will notice how many times you have the impulse to pick up your phone, for instance. In fact, let's just go ahead and put this in the structure I want to talk about. This is going to be super easy. 4 steps. And then you can go on this adventure with me. So for those that choose to accept this mission and want to do this with me, step 1, think of what social media you're prone to mindlessly scrolling, checking constantly. For me, like I said, it was LinkedIn, Instagram, Reddit, and the New York Times. Like I pointed out before, a lot of us like to make a line between social media where there's the junk apps like Instagram and Facebook and things like that, and TikTok. And then there's, really solid news like the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or, different things like that. But in the end, if we're constantly checking it, constantly using it to fill the white space in our lives, or what we think is white space, you're still hiding in the scroll. You're still doing the same thing. You just get to feel a little bit more proud about it or more exclusive or something like that. But it's the same thing. So let's be honest with ourselves there. So think for me, I grabbed my phone and I went ahead and I deleted each of those apps off my phone. I no longer have them on my phone so that I cannot do that. Some of you might say like, oh, you know what? That's cool. I'm going to set a timer because there's that timer feature on my phone that will keep track of how much time I spend on an app. And then a little message pops up and says, hey, you've reached your time limit for the day, but you can hit an ignore button on it and keep going. And guess what? That's absolutely what you're going to do. You're going to have the best of intentions, but you're going to be in the middle of an article or you were really enjoying watching that cat video or whatever, and you're going to hit ignore and you're going to keep going. So you need to delete it off your phone. You got to be absolutely strident with yourself on this one. It can't exist on your phone anymore. No temptation. So step 2 is delete them from your phone. So first, identify which ones they are. Be really honest with yourself. Because if you spend a lot of time on Pinterest or something too, be honest about that one. That one probably needs to go too. Delete them from your phone. Some people, like I said, want to set a timer. Do not let yourself have that out. It has to be off your phone. Step 3, be patient with yourself in the first 72 hours. Here's what I mean by that. Notice when you have the impulse to pick up your phone during a lull in a conversation, a free moment in between meetings. Notice it. That's all. You don't need to feel bad about it. It'll be funny at first how many times that your hand starts to mindlessly reach for your phone. Even during a TV show, when you're supposed to be already being entertained by something. I couldn't believe how often I did this during the first 24 hours, especially. I was watching a movie with my kids and I kept, even though I had put the phone in the other room, I kept reaching for the phone when there was a piece of dialogue or a scene that was happening that I didn't particularly care about. Funny, right? My brain is so conditioned to want that dopamine hit that when I'm already consuming something that's entertaining, I also want to use the secondary device. Crazy, right? I know some of you are maybe thinking about your own behavior and you do this as well. So I know I'm not alone on this. So be patient with yourself during that first 72 hours. Notice when you have the impulse to pick it up, your phone, during a lull in conversation, a free moment in between meetings. Notice it. That's all. It's just a feeling. It will pass. In fact, you can even laugh to yourself a little bit about it. Then refocus on a simple activity. Be grateful for the fact that you're watching that movie with your kids. You don't need the phone right now. Notice your breathing. Stare at a window at a tree, like I said before. If you absolutely have to use your phone in that moment, text a friend and tell them how much you appreciate them and you love them. But you use that moment to foster a connection that you want to do instead of scrolling an app if you need to use a device. But even then, I would say only rarely. So that's step 3. That first 72 hours, that's going to be the hardest part. And then after that, you're going to notice that you already feel a little bit better, less distracted, less need for it. You don't really reach for it that much anymore. You're able to concentrate on things. You're getting done with things faster, not stopping and starting. You'll start to notice the world around you a little bit more. And step 4, after the first 72 hours, allow yourself, only if it's business related. That's what I did for me. You know what? If you want to go ahead and just have it for pleasure, that's absolutely fine. Here's your out. Allow yourself 20 to 30 minutes daily. For me, I only check essential social media associated with my work streams. So for me, marketing agency, coaching and training, if I'm posting this podcast and we're doing the post on Instagram or on LinkedIn and stuff like that, like there are times during the week I need to use it for business stuff or to promote what I'm doing, to advertise. That's what I allow myself to do. But I only allow myself 20 to 30 minutes max per day, and it's on the calendar when it starts and when it stops. No more than that. And I can only do it from my PC or my laptop, not from my phone. That's really helped me. In fact, setting a timer so you don't go over or putting on your calendar will really be helpful to you. And really what I was able to find as well already, and I have done this in the past as well, but what I found on this round already with this reset for myself with social media is that the only ones I really needed were Reddit and LinkedIn. That was really it, other than the posting of the podcast announcement each week on Instagram. So for you, you might find that after the 30 days, if you decide to reinstall something on your phone, and a lot of people do, you might look for the possibility that you won't reinstall everything you deleted. Perhaps you can be perfectly fine with checking Reddit or the New York Times from your computer from now on, once or twice during the day, instead of constantly on your phone, so you don't fall back down that hole again. So allow yourself the grace after the 30 days to reinstall some stuff, but maybe look for opportunities to not reinstall everything. That way you don't backslide. If you find, and I really think that you will, that your net happiness, your connection with the world and with the people around you that you care about has gone up. So this is what I'm doing for the next 30 days. I'm 72 hours in. I would love for you to join me. If you want to comment or you want to go ahead and let me know. Seriously, Aaron@omhcreative.com. I would love to hear if you've chosen to do this, and I'll highlight you if you have. I'll let you know, and I will congratulate you for doing it. Have a fantastic week, my friends. Hit the reset button. You won't be sorry that you did. Talk to you next week.